I am beyond disappointed. Welcome back, troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Remember that guitar auction we did a couple of episodes on? I happened to catch it on the ending night, and the thrill of competition and the hunt for cool guitars got the best of me, and I spent way more money than I had, and I gave almost 7 guitars. But since I'm nowhere near California, I had to opt for their professional pack and ship by UPS, which I told you guys, you probably want to budget about $400 for. On those 7 guitars, it cost me a little over $2,000, which is just a little bit under $300. But what showed up at my doorstep is not professional packaging in the slightest. I got one box that looked like this, and then 3 of them that looked normal. They had to have put 4 guitars in this box. The label calls it 79 pounds. As a general rule of thumb, you want to ship no more than 2 guitars at the same time, and even that is kind of pushing it. Because the heavier the package is, the more likely it is somebody is going to drop it or mishandle it. A regular guitar will be under 30 pounds, which is okay for most package handlers. What a dumb way to ship guitars. Especially when I paid what I paid for all this, right? They weren't particularly packed that well inside of this box either. I found it funny though, my UPS guy, when he dropped this one off, he's like, please tell me this isn't an 80-pound guitar. And that's when I told him, nah, there's probably like 4 of them in there. And he felt a little bit better. But okay, that's how they did it. They did it sideways, 4 guitars, really jam-packed in here like this when I paid $300 a guitar. And wouldn't you know it, the 2 that I actually wanted for maybe my personal collection had to be in that box. All right, let's go ahead and start with this one, the number 1. The bidding got absolutely fierce on this, and just as a fun thing, when the auction was ending, I was actually doing like a private live stream for myself, so I can actually play my final thoughts as I was bidding on these in the last second. Alright, so my strategy on this guitar is I put a decent bid on this, but there was another guy who was going back and forth, so we went crazy within the first couple of days of this auction, and I eventually decided, it's just too much. But at the very end, I decided to outbid him one last time. It's definitely more than I want to pay, but so far, so good over here. The guy might be asleep. Heart is racing, my friends. Alright, we got 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did we get it? Yeah! Please, the guitar gods, smile upon this one. I don't care about the rest. I'll take insurance payout claims, but I paid way too much for the Silver Flow Elegant because it's the only one that was all Silver Flow. Top, back, and sides. Looks like I'm missing a high E string on it already. But oh, wow. That is really cool, and it looks like it might have arrived okay. Alright, so please have no fear, we will do a full review and documentation on this guitar, but this thing's so cool. It was worth paying a crazy premium of because it's a one-off, it's technically a Les Paul Elegant, it pairs well with my other Gold Flow one. And honestly, I was really worried how this collection was stored because a lot of the guitars, especially the acoustics, showed moisture damage. I can't tell that is the fact though because the fretboard shrunk, so we've got a little bit of a ridge between the finish and where the binding starts, so that's a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. I'd rather have it shrink than expand, because then your binding starts to fall off. Now this one, it's got a lot of finish checking to it, but it's also a metallic finish, so they're pretty prone to that anyways. I was also really worried about funky odors and smells, but thankfully this actually just smells like the original case. So now I don't feel so bad letting that other Silver Flow Elegant go around 2019 before doing the review, because this one's much cooler. And check out this awesome folder it comes with that has our COA in it. Okay, so far so good. But before we go to guitar number 2, we need to hear a word from our sponsor, Sweetwater. I've been a customer of theirs for well over 10 years. If you need any type of new music gear, they are the place to go. I find that they're one of the easiest ones to shop online from because I'm buying a lot of high-end guitars, right? So I want to be able to see the top, I want to know how much it weighs, and I want it presented in a manner that makes a lot of sense, and that's exactly what their website offers. They even have a used gear marketplace, and if you're local to their Fort Wayne, Indiana campus, they also have music lessons, they have some cool events, and hey, they also do monthly giveaways that you can enter by clicking that link in the description. Thank you, Sweetwater, for sponsoring tonight's episode. Now let's get back to some cool guitars. This next one's kind of funny. I didn't even remember that I had bid on this because after I made that video, I just went through and bid on like 80 different guitars, the max I would pay as a reseller, and absolutely none of those bids ended up working except for this one. And it looks like some sort of an SG case. Let's see if it made it safely. It's another one of these Angus Young signatures. It's kind of nice having this because I own the prototype of this guitar, or at least one of them, and now I could technically do a side-by-side comparison photo shoot that shows you how different the prototype truly is. And this thing appeared to be in pretty good shape except for, oh boy, those frets need serious help. That's kind of funny. I've seen a lot of these guitars already get relisted on Reverb, which is fine. That's where a lot of dealers buy inventory, is at auctions like that, because a lot of the general public doesn't like buying guitars like this, sight unseen. But they're not even taking the time to clean them up or make the frets non-rusty. We're okay on this one, no headstock breaks. This one is from 2002, very late 2002. So pretty far into the production run. That's just a nice one. I'm really surprised they actually took the time to pad the inside of the case. Most times the pack and ship places don't do that. So there's pros and cons to these guys. Oh, and this thing, I probably overpaid for it. I just kept going, do I really want it? Because somebody kept bidding, and I was like, yes, I do, because it's unique. It's got a cool fretboard. Although I'm mainly interested in this one just as a review and documentation piece, so we will get a full review and demo on this one. Inside here is a beautiful lavender sparkle. So we had that Les Paul Custom not too long ago, and there were a few Guitar Center exclusives done up in a similar finish, but they don't actually have the sparkle. That's looking really good in person. But this right here is the reason I bid a little bit too crazy on it. I love the streakiness of the rosewood fretboard. It gives this thing ultimate character. So much character, in fact, I thought the nut was offset and high because it's like creating an optical illusion there. Let's just hope no headstock breaks, no whammies, no whatever you want to call it. So far, feels okay. We had all the sparkly finishes. Anything that could go wrong could have went wrong, because these are the most fragile of the Gibson Nitros. This guitar also would have looked nice with a natural back and sides, but the fact that you've got this all sparkle finish, and this thing appears to be from the year 2008, is pretty cool. We got that weird discoloration around the tuners, but this is going to make a nice review and documentation one day. However, yes, unfortunately, here's more signs of these things not being stored properly. So this time the board shrunk, but the frets have stayed the same, so they're starting to protrude out in some areas, and it's also making the side markers stick out a bit. Now the small cracks, those are on almost every Gibson, that's nothing to worry about, but there are a few that stick out just a tad bit more. Oh well, once I clean and polish these up, they'll look nice again. Lavender sparkle, do we want to bid on this? We'll put it in. But oh no, now these are ending at the exact same time. Oh. That's why I'm recording this live. Like, you can't script that stuff at the exact same time. So okay, I guess if this one arrives safely, I can't fault them, but that was crazy. So this was another one of those ones that I put a huge bid on right after my first video and said, hey, if I get it, I get it. But the more and more I looked at the condition, the more I kind of regretted going so high. But thankfully, nobody bid too crazy on this, and I got for about $1,000 less than my top bid. All right, so this one I put a max bid of $5,000 on, but I'm kind of regretting it now. I hope somebody comes and like outbids me. It's a bit much. It needs a little bit of TLC, but it doesn't look like I have a choice anymore. Because this guitar, it's only cool because of the story and how they were painted. It's just a regular Les Paul standard, but these have been selling for nearly 10 grand lately. Some of the signed version ones have been even breaking that. But I'm very excited to document this. A Music Rising Les Paul. I've been waiting a long time for like one that I find attractive. Like this one, I think it's got maybe just a little bit too much yellow, but it is very nice at the same time. Man, just feeling it for the first time. It's like a satin finish. They didn't even bother doing the full gloss. But these have ties to Hurricane Katrina. You've got the Edge with U2. But again, since I'm going to do the full review and demo, I'm just not going to talk about this whole paint splattered one too much because we're just going to have a great episode when I eventually make it. And I don't know how. I do not suggest shipping guitars the way these were, and I do feel slightly ripped off of how much I was charged for that thing, but they did all arrive safely, and they're about in the shape I expected. This is what was scaring me on this one. Look at those frets. They are literally black. That is going to make a great transformation. You can tell this board has never been conditioned, so I will definitely need to be fixing that. And I don't I might actually hold this one back in my personal collection because I definitely need one of these. But the other thing that was really weirding me out on this one is our skirted knob right here is completely disgusting. I don't even think I can fix that. I'll probably just have to replace it. And to wrap up tonight's episode, I've got a package from Italy. You guys know me, I collect new old stock 70s and 80s parts. A little bit of 90s and 2000s as well, but that's what I mainly focus on. And something that I didn't have in my collection yet popped up, and this just goes to show you, if somebody has one of something, it's always good to ask them if they have anything else they're going to sell, because he ended up having more. So let's see what's in this box. Well, this is really cool. So this is the boxes that Gibson shipped out for their authorized parts. You can find some pickups and other things in here. But what is sleeping inside of our box? We've got an original TP6 tailpiece. So I've got a whole bunch of these things now. I've really come to appreciate these old 70s boxes because they're so, hey, look at me, they're display ready. They're way too big for what they should be. But as you see them evolve from 70s into the 80s, into like the 90s and 2000s. I mean, the packaging obviously got more store friendly, but it's just no longer a big, hey, I'm a crazy guy, come buy my stuff. Seeing them together makes me happy in a strange way, so that's why I collect these things. So if you have a TP6 tailpiece in a different packaging than these, please let me know. They're just gonna make a great little display. But I told you, I asked this guy if he had more, and he did. He had 2 more, so it's like, yeah, I'm gonna buy those. I only need 1 for my collection, so if you have other new old stock parts from the 70s in a similar Gibson box, or even 80s, like I'm really going after the pickups because I have most of the other stuff, feel free to let me know. I'm actually really glad he sent these things. I'm not sure if that's original to these, like did they ship in these sleeves and then they took them out? I mean, it seems to have been made custom made just for that, so I'm really glad I bought this set. But I always love that side label on this too, adjustable tailpiece gold. I guess I don't know if I'll be able to part with any of them. They're just so cool. But just as a fun recap, here's some of the other ones that I've got. Pickups, Dirty Fingers. What's in this box? Oh yeah, that's a T-top new old stock. And then a Dirty Fingers. Alright, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Might seem strange to be most excited about TP6 tailpieces versus all those guitars I just bought, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day. And you might even enjoy this next one.